Is this their moment? Beckham into Sheringham. Manchester United have reached the promised land. Solskjaer.
2019 is 20 years on from when Manchester United won that fabled treble back in 1999, the only English team to have ever completed the feat. And we've seen plenty of documentaries about the goals, the games, but what about the journey? What about travelling with Manchester United home and away? Seeing United score 6 against Brøndby, seeing Roy Keane's inspired performance against Juventus in Turin. And how magical was that night in Barcelona? Let's find out together.
My name is Darren Webb, 48 years of age, been following United since the day I was born.
And you were there for 99 home and away?
Yeah, 99 home and away. Probably one of only 150, 200 people can say that, you know. I've got some great memories of the trips, and obviously it finished in May with a great victory, you know, but what a few months it was to follow United then, when it was a great team. Yeah, lads, obviously we beat them here 2-0 in the first leg. There wasn't a great team. Went over there. Pitch was terrible, the ground was terrible, everything was terrible about the trip, about the cheap beer. That was the best thing about it, you know. We got through. But it wasn't a great performance, but it was the game that got us through to the group stages. The next one was Bayern Munich, which was absolutely colossal because it was a Munich beer festival at the time.
Really?
So it was good. I always remember the story about that. It's actually the day after the game. There was still quite a lot of us over there. And when the music stopped, we were singing United songs, and over in the far corner, there's another group of United fans, but didn't seem to join in with us back. So I marched over there to kick off with him. And there was Italian Reds couldn't speak any English, apart from one who could speak a bit. And he written down on the paper, if you stay here and sing us songs, we will buy you beer. So literally didn't move from the sides for the next day. Great lads, but didn't obviously know any sing, but still in contact with one of them to this day. There was thousands of Reds in Munich, you know. I think a lot of people it fell lucky that the Munich Beer Festival was on, so obviously you got a good drink and you got a football match as well.
And what was the ground like at that
Old,
point?
aged, you know, it'd been done up for the 74 World Cup, and obviously now Munich had the new stadium, we had been for years, but it had gone as a stadium, a bit like ours now, we need a new one. Still a great sight to say you've been in the Olympic Stadium in Munich, you know, but it was looking old. Flew direct into Brøndby, weather was terrible, you know, it was like being at home.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
What, even back then?
Yeah, it was something like 8 or 9 quid a pint then.
Really?
Yeah, it was very expensive. I remember we didn't get an hotel room because we were flying back. Early the next morning we stayed at the airport. I can remember being hit on the head by the cleaner because she wanted to sweep round where I was sleeping, me and a couple of lads, but great victory, 6-2, you know. I think we was 2 up after about 10 minutes when Giggsy scored an header from a Wes Brown cross, and Yorkie got one, and Keano scored, and Solskjaer come on and scored with his first touch. But a very easy victory against a very, very average Brøndby team.
And was it an expected victory?
Yeah, well, you never know what you're going to find in your line, but once we went 2 up in 10 minutes, it was game over. We went over there and we should have won the game, but they had a bloke called Rivaldo who had different ideas, you know what I mean? At that point, we probably the best player in the world, you know. But we went over there, we got the point we needed. Great game, both of them were great games against Barcelona.
It's probably one of the most famous goals in that game was York and Cole.
Yeah, it was a great goal. But it's like we were talking about that, up for that game, I think blind that my ticket was £52 English, and for the final, which was right at the bottom tier, was 14. Great ground, you know what I mean? People say it's crumbling, but it's still one of the iconic stadiums in world football.
It's a long walk up, but...
So, not when you've had about 15 pints in it, doesn't seem that bad, like, but no, you say it is bad. When we won it in '68, I wasn't born. You know, my mother went to the final, she hitched it all the way with her mate, ended up blagging in the Benfica end. You know, so it was a thing that I used to speak to her about, with telling about the great night in '68 at Wembley and all that, and then you want to be part of it, you know. And obviously, when you get to the quarter-final, you can smell it a bit. You know, didn't think we'd win it, like, you know what I mean, because there were some great teams in there who we actually eventually knocked out. obviously into the Milan game with the Simeone Beckham thing, what was going on from the World Cup. You know, obviously coming in and Yorkie getting 2 great headers, you know, but still going over there, and Ronaldo's back from injury, and he had a great team, you know, and then we stood there. And I was saying in Milan that night, United must have about 12,000. We took a complete end. It's probably one of the best United away ends I've been to in Europe.
12,000 in the South.
We had all the bottom tier, all right round. Say at least between 9 and 12,000. There was loads there. Unbelievable.
Was it 12,000 official? Was it just
No,
you filled it?
I don't know what it was officially, but I think they had like an end which they couldn't sell, which they went on. I don't know if it was cash and all that, but we had. If you look at the pictures of Scholes' goal, how it pans round, we've got the full bottom end behind the goal.
Was it a bit more heavy-handed in Italy?
Yeah. Oh, it's unbelievable the police over there. You know, United fans don't help themselves sometimes, but some of the stuff's all over the top. But it's because of the old weird English, you know, and some United fans do go over the top. Not as bad as what we've seen in Barcelona with United and Liverpool, but the Italian police, you just don't mess with them. Well, the Turin one, it'll stick in my mind for a long time. Obviously we drew the home game 1-1, got an equaliser out of the death gigs there. And going over there, and if you look at their team, it was a class team, you know, Zidane, Davids, Deschamps, you know, Inzaghi. There was a class team, and being in United and going 2-0 down, and when they scored, they had fountains behind the goal. And at Coleman started playing the Blues Brothers song, and I always remember saying to my mate, who come every round with me, we're not out of this. And he looked at me like to say, shut your effing mouth. We're 2-0 down there after 10 minutes, couldn't get a pace in. And from there, if you look at the match, if you watch the match now, we still won 5 or 6. Irwin hits the post, we had a good chances, and then obviously, somewhat I'll always remember, there was a segregation underneath the stands. If you was back at the bottom tier, there was, and obviously next to Juventus fans, and when Coley put that in, I've run into the segregation there and the police had hit me, I didn't feel a fucking thing. They were hitting me with batons and truncheons, I didn't feel a thing. And going back to Milan that night and drinking an Irish bar, dry.
So is that what was it? All the Reds stayed in Milan?
A lot of them stayed in Milan, yeah, cheaper options. A lot of people flew into Milan, got part of the packages. You know, because there's nothing in that Turin really, you know, where the ground's situated. The old ground was out, Stadio dell'Alpi was out in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? So a lot stayed in Milan. We had a great couple of days there, Do you
remember what the feeling was when Keane scored? was it still a sort of, we're out of this, but at least we've got one?
No, I just thought that, obviously, you're 2-0 down and you've got the away goal as well. You're thinking you need a miracle against the top team. But Keane's performance that night just summed up the man for me. You know, he knew he wasn't playing in the final. He'd been booked, he must have been absolutely gutted. But he put in a performance like he didn't score that goal. It brought us back into the tie, you know, and it's fully deserved that to make it 2-1. And Keane that night just went from strength to strength.
Going into the final, you're going back to Barcelona, you've already been there in the group stage, you're playing Bayern Munich, you've already played in the group stage. Not that it changes anything, but you're going into sort of familiar surroundings going into Barcelona. Yeah,
of course, obviously Munich was a great team, had some great players, you know. But I always had a little thing in my mind that would win, you know. Was it Busby's birthday, and there was all things, what was connecting, and then obviously sitting with the lads who had been with to most rounds, 2 of us who went to every round, sat with him in the ground. Didn't get the tickets together, but actually the seats next to each other officially, that's how mad it was, you know, we'd all booked our own stuff. And just to be there, you know, it's dead surreal. Obviously, I've never watched the full match over again, because there's no point, you know what I mean, just watch the last 2 minutes. But it's mad though, because the thing what's sticking in my mind about that is 3 things. Is not actually seeing the goal, the second goal go in live, going back to my seat after going down about 10 rows for the celebration, thinking as the chair's gone up and I'm looking at the crowd, is that showing on the screen the Sheringham equaliser. I'm not seeing that Solskjaer's put the ball in the back of the net, you know, which is a bit of a shit alike. But and another thing is going into with working at United, getting free tickets for the Amstel tent. And actually being in there on the Thursday morning while they're taking it down, refusing to leave. You know, taking the tent down, I've still got an old key ring from it when Heineken was the sponsors. And the last thing what was sticking in my mind was walking at the Barcelona train station and on the big screen seeing there playing it in the ground and just stood there absolutely steaming, just watching him at the ground and laughing. Then obviously getting delayed in Barcelona for 10 hours and getting back to Manchester and missing all the parade. I'm not in the parade, but I think I should have been part of that with what I've just done. And not being able to get a pint because every pub was drank dry. Really? But still great memories, you know. It's the greatest, you know, the players say it's the greatest week of their life. It's the greatest week of my life, football-wise, and it's something I'll never forget. People say, I mean, people going about the final being the best game, but for me the semi-final was, you know, to reach there after so many years and not getting there and deservingly to get there, you know, and going into the old lady's backyard who basically, no one gave us a chance. You know, even Arden Reds would probably say now, listen, I didn't fancy us, but there's something there I just thought. And for me, the turning point was Keane's, well, not so much Keane's booking because it was too all in, but just the performance of the captain, you know, because he could have crumbled that night, you know, but he just got the game by the scruff of the neck and thought, listen, I'm not going to go, but I'm going to let you use other 10 players there, and he did. It was just a great, great night. I think it'll be hard for the team to do it again. You know, City nearly got there this year, probably ended up with the Aldi treble, you know. It's going to be hard, you need a lot of luck. We had a lot of luck, you know, that year, you know, especially in that final where they hit the bar about 100 times. Can it be done again? Very much doubt. You need a hell of a lot of luck, and we did.
United did have plenty of luck along the way, but you make your own luck, and that season was all about coming back against the odds, and United did that right up until the final. What a season it was. We may never see the likes of it again, and seeing those players lift the Champions League trophy in the Nou Camp as a fan will be the holy grail memory for any United fan who was lucky enough to be there that night. What a story it is.